What up, everybody? It's your boy JKG Brandon. We are back playing some Diablo 4. This one, let me see if you can see it here on the screen, but right down in here, we done hit level 100, y'all. Hit it last night before I went to bed. Felt really good. I'm going to give you just kind of the basic, quick and dirty. This is the build that I've ran pretty much since, I don't know, man, I was about level 60, 65, somewhere in that range. Went pretty quick from that point on. Basically, I did tons and tons of nightmare sigil farming. That's pretty much the way I got most of my XP. I'm not going to give like a 30-minute, in-depth build guide on this. I just want to keep it quick and dirty. So we're just going to get right up on into it. This one, we're going to run Numbing Wrath on the helmet. And we're looking for things like cooldown reduction and damage reduction on our helmet. My gear is not maxed out. I have a lot of min-maxing to go as far as, pushing for those high Nightmare Dungeon levels. On the chest piece, we're running Iron Blood, 4% damage reduction for each nearby bleeding enemy, up to 20%, which is massive because we are going to be inflicting some bleeds. And then you can see we got all stats, dex, and overpower, so really no damage reduction on the chest piece like I really want to have on there. My attack power, only 4319. My life is pretty decent, 13k, and we're right around 7k on armor. Again, I don't really look at these specific stats, especially the attack power. Armor and life are kind of okay because those are just stat based, but what I'm really looking for when I come in here is when I'm looking at what kind of damage I'm going to do. I'm actually doing more damage right now than I did when I was in the 5,000s, pushing 6,000 on attack power. So I'm actually doing more damage. 42% crit chance, that's pretty decent because we are doing Whirlwind. We're hitting a lot, so we're going to get a lot of chances to crit. Crit strike damage is 271, vulnerable 222, and overpower is 459. I would like to, maybe drop some of the overpower to get some more vulnerable, maybe some more crit damage in those kind of situations, just kind of even those numbers out. Obviously, as we kind of push higher and higher, we could get, some better gear and start looking more at min-maxing those stats, and, we can figure that out as we go. On the gloves, we are using Berserk Ripping, so we are going to deal 20% more base damage as bleeding damage, which is going to help us with our aspect here on our Iron Blood because we're going to take less damage to bleeding enemies. So we're kind of trying to work everything in there. On the gloves, I love having crit strike chance. I potentially could look at going with something, trying to get maybe like a crit damage instead of like the attack speed. You can kind of see right here on these gloves, we have the little blue marker there, shows you the stat that is actually being affected. So I would probably look at running that back, seeing if I could re-roll that for maybe like some crit damage, maybe some vulnerable damage, or damage reduction if we can get it. That would actually always be great. I'm going to pretty much be stacking as much damage reduction as I push higher and higher on nightmare sigils. That way we can try to stay alive, because if we are dead, we don't do damage. On the pants, you can see here, max life, damage reduction, damage reduction, damage reduction. Yeah, try to go all out on damage reduction, get that max life. On the aspect, we are running the disobedience aspect, so we are going to gain 0.3% basically increased armor for 4 seconds, up to 30%. That's going to stack anytime we deal damage. On the boots, these just dropped for me last night, so I'm kind of testing them out. Movement speed for 1 second off of the evade. Movement speed, crowd control duration, which is going to be off of our bleed as well, because when we do a bleed, we're doing a slow, and slow is going to count as CC. For us, slow duration reduction, that is for us when we do get slowed, and cold resistance, and is going to be up there. Obviously, unique the Penitent Greaves are a unique set of boots, and all the uniques have basically standardized stats as far as what they are, and they can just roll at those different levels. And so this one, I just kind of wanted to test it out, because leaving behind a trail of frost that chills enemies, and then you do more damage to those chilled enemies, and we almost got a max roll on the 9% there. On the jewelry, this is where we're going to have one little change from any previous builds that I've done. Chain of the Dire Whirlwind, we're using Dire Whirlwind. We're trying to get as many points into cost reduction, cooldown reduction, anything we can get on our jewelry, especially our neck piece. We're trying to get cooldown reductions, fury cost reductions, wherever we can get it, so we can try to keep those cooldowns, you know, not cooldown and keep our fury bar, you know, nice and topped off. Speaking of topping off our fury bar, Echoing Fury is one that I put in here in the last few days. It's really nice. Echoing Fury is a really nice one to have in your build if you're having trouble keeping your fury alive. You can actually put this in. You can see this one is a max roll as far as the aspect goes. Our shout skills are going to generate 4 fury per second while active. We're running all 3 shouts, so this is actually a way to keep a ton of fury. You know, just keep it topping off as we're using it. You can see this one came with crit strike chance, crit strike damage, max fury increase, and damage to bleeding enemies. All things that are going to help us do damage. So even though we're not getting any kind of, you know, damage reduction or cooldown reduction, we are actually getting more fury with it. So it's going to kind of work out almost like a little bit of a cooldown reduction, because the more fury we have, the longer our whirlwind's going to go, and then we can get back to our cooldowns again. We are running Bold Chieftain's Band. I've been running this since I got it. You know, max fury, max life, damage over time, crit strike chance. I might look to re-roll that crit strike chance out of that crit strike chance. Hopefully maybe get like some vulnerable damage back, some crit strike damage back, or even if we can, you know, get lucky and get like a cooldown reduction or something like that, that would be super dope. But you can kind of see whenever we use a shout skill, we are using all 3 shouts. Again, we are going to reduce those cooldowns by almost 2 seconds, 1.9 seconds per nearby enemy, up to a maximum of 6 seconds. We're going to be using Whirlwind. We're going to be using Shout, hopefully when we're, you know, have a big group around us. So hopefully we're going to be getting that max 6 seconds every time we use it, which is going to go massively towards keeping those shouts and the Whirlwind up 100% of the time. As far as weapons, we'll just kind of go this way. We'll go clockwise, and we'll start with the secondary 2-handed weapon. I have Limitless Rage in place there, so each point of fury we generate while we're at max fury grants our next core skill 4% up to 60%. You can see that's a max roll on the aspect itself. Increased damage up to 60%. So we're going to be able to use that for more damage. And again, all of our weapons, we're pretty much trying to get as much damage out of them as we can. So, you know, crit strike damage, vulnerable damage, overpower damage, damage to close enemies, damage crowd control enemies, damage to bleeding enemies, damage to injured enemies, you know, just straight up damage. I think there's one stat that's just damage. We are going to run the expectant on the one of the single-handed weapons as well. Again, you can kind of see same aspect applies, right? Damage to slowed enemies, vulnerable damage, crit strike damage, damage to close enemies. We're trying to get as much damage out of our weapons as we can. This one here with the expectant, attacking enemies with the basic skill, so our lunging strike in this case increases the damage of our next core skill, which is our whirlwind, by 5%. Up to 30%. This is a min roll on that. I would love to hopefully get a max roll on that aspects and pop that on there so we can actually get some more damage, which would be awesome. We are running another unique piece here. We are running the Magnum Opus. Magnum Opus is a wonderful, wonderful weapon because it does give us you can see the aspect effect here. Skills using this weapon deal 0.3% increased damage per point of fury that we have, but you lose 2 fury every second. So we are using more fury. However, we are gaining more damage out of it. So all of those other aspects where we're, getting our cooldowns back, where we're getting our fury back. Those are going to offset this really well. So it kind of works in tandem with all that. And again, damage everywhere. So, and then Edge Masters on the main two-handed weapon. Again, damage everywhere. Overpower damage, damage to close enemies, injured enemies, vulnerable damage, and then we got to double dip with the overpower damage as well, with it being on the base stat at the top and the stat at the bottom. Edge Masters is wonderful, wonderful aspect. You can see we almost got a max roll here. We're at 38%, so our skills are going to deal 38% increased damage based on our primary resource, which is our Fury. So if we are maxed out on Fury, we are going to do more damage by 38% more damage, to be precise. Expertise isn't one that a lot of people don't necessarily talk about. We are running the two-handed version of the Whirlwind. So if we come in here and we look at our skills here for our Whirlwind, we are using the dual-wielded weapon. So we are doing dual-wield Whirlwind, and I am using dual-wield on the lunging strike as well. And if we come in here to our expertise, I am using the two-handed mace expertise. Skill trees, pretty basic. We're using lunging strike into enhanced. Take the Whirlwind, max out the Whirlwind on your way to Furious Whirlwind. I'm not going to go into too much depth on this. We're going to use Rallying Cry, Tactical Rallying Cry, Challenging Shout over to Tactical Challenging Shout, War Cry into Power War Cry. We are going to take Booming Voice and Guttural Yell, so we are going to enemies deal 12% less damage to us, because that is massive. We are going to take Pit Fighter, and you can see here I have 3 into No Mercy from, and we got that from gear pieces, which is awesome. Anytime you can kind of get something like that in a gear piece, that's going to be really nice, because you can use however many points that is, you can use that somewhere else, or you can use it to overpower something else if you need to. But we are running Hamstring, so our bleeding effects now slow enemies by 10%. We don't need it to be maxed out, because once they're slowed, we're going to do more damage. We are going to take Cut to the Bone, so our bleeding effects are going to deal 18% increased damage to vulnerable, which is just going to do more damage. Thick Skin, and we are going to run Counter Offensive. So while we're under a Fortify, if we have over 50% Fortify, we're going to deal 8% increased damage. You can kind of see the theme, right? We're trying to take as much stuff as we can to increase damage in this build. This isn't like a hardcore barb build. I might do a hardcore build on stream. I'm going to start streaming here soon, so be on the lookout for that. Tempered Fury, I like to have that increase our max Fury by 9. With 3 points into it. Wrath of the Berserker all the way, and then we're going to take Unbridled Rage. And if you're having trouble keeping your Fury bar, filled, go ahead and don't take Unbridled Rage. Go ahead and take Unconstrained. That's pretty much the easiest way to keep your Fury bar topped off until you start getting some of those aspects that are regenerating your Fury quickly and efficiently. Paragon board, I'm not even going to go into the Paragon board. There is so much to go through. I have 6 Paragon boards here that we're going through. The big one that I would say is take Exploit. Exploit is going to proc vulnerable for 3 seconds, and it's going to make us do more damage by doing that. So if you can get Exploit, you can run in with your lunging strike, pop them 1-2, get them vulnerable. You see the blue bar on top, you got them staggered, boom. And then you start, proccing your shouts, and you go in for your max damage. Makes hitting the bosses a lot quicker, makes hitting those big mobs a lot quicker. But yeah, Exploit is probably the first glyph you should try to get up to 21 if you can. I don't want to make this video go too much longer here for you guys. I don't want to make this a 30-minute video, so I'm gonna cut it off here. But as always, if you like what I do around here, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit that subscription button. We're trying to hit 1,000 subs on the channel. Cool new thing on the channel, we do have memberships and all that kind of stuff open here for you guys. So as I do start streaming over on Twitch and here on YouTube, definitely look out for that, so you can help support me and the channel. Let me know in the comments if you have anything specific you want to see from the Barb or any of the other classes. At this point, now that we're 100, we can kind of branch out and start doing some other more fun stuff. Definitely let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.